The loss of life. The loss of life. Have you ever been in a situation where a family member of yours may have needed an organ, a liver, a kidney, or even a heart, skin? It might change your mind about how you feel about being an organ donor, right? The other side of being an organ donor is when you're not there and it's your family that's saying goodbye to you and you're the organ donor. A lot of people don't understand what that means. In this video, um, family go off because they don't understand that process of when you click yes as an organ donor and what happens when you pass versus the family having time and to grieve. Let's watch.
Speak with who's ever in charge of this hospital. Ma'am, I need to speak with who's ever in charge. You're trying to take my son off a life support and take his organs, and I asked for who's ever in charge. I asked for the director. I need to speak to the director. I need to speak to whoever's over Larry, ma'am. Okay. I'm asking you to speak to who's ever in charge of Overland Park Regional Medical Center. I am sending this to the news. I've asked you not to take my son off life support. My son would have not wanted his organs removed. All of us, all parents are here. We said no. Who's ever in charge,
Today, May the 16th, I got a call, I think 9 years ago, that my mom was in the hospital, right? She needed a liver. Make a long story short, 10 days later, we had to take off life support, and unfortunately, she passed away. You know, the waiting list was really long. So I know how it feels to be on one side, hoping an organ becomes available and losing that person. I just want to say that. Let's watch.
we said no. We said no.
And
Ma'am, please, can I get the director, whoever is over Overland Park Region? You just told me no, ma'am. Can you tell me no on this phone again? Tell me no again.
I am happy to find someone to visit.
No, I want to talk to who is ever in charge of this hospital.
Okay.
This hospital.
Okay.
And the attorneys that is sitting, that's saying that this is okay, that you said that they said this is okay.
You have the documentation.
Ma'am, I am
Your son
I need
signed up
them
his
to come in
driver's
this.
license
My
to be
son
an
did not
organ
want
donor,
that I
and we
signed when it was
appreciate
about
the
it.
gifts that
It's
he's
not,
giving.
he's not
That's
giving
all I
them.
have to say.
Yes, can you go get whoever's in charge? Thank you.
And you know, the nurse, it's not really her argument. You know, she should get somebody above herself. Maybe she's the head nurse to have this conversation because it is up to the person who's donating the organ. It's not up to the family. And let me share a little bit more. Um, my youngest daughter, we lost her mom, and she was an organ donor. She was on life support. What happens when they know they about to take you off of life support is that immediately, in order for them to harvest the organs, they have to do surgery while you're still warm. So it's not like hospice, like when my mom passed, we got to sit there and hold her hand. You know, her body's temperature started to change, and everybody got to come and say goodbye afterwards, right? When you're an organ donor, they got to do surgery immediately to remove the organs, skin, and all these other different things, put it on ice or whatever they do to preserve it, to get it to with whoever person that's going to receive the organs. Like in certain cases, like that person who's waiting for the organ might already be in the hospital or they might be at work, so they calling them. They got to get prepped for surgery. They may be across the country, so that organ is getting removed packaged and flown somewhere, and a person is already getting put to sleep and opened up, waiting for this organ to arrive. So it's a big deal. But when you're the family and you're losing that person, like they're sitting in the hospital, grieving over that family member, like, the process is the process, but like in real life, as the grieving family, you're not ready for that process, because if he's an organ donor, they gotta go. So what's going to happen is this: what if they about to take him off life support? What they're about to do is take him down and get him ready for surgery. You understand? They're not going to pull the plug right there and take him off of life support. What's going to happen is this: they take you down to surgery. The surgeons is all there. A handful of the family members could come down. They take you off of life support. You there with your family until you flatline. They give you like 30 seconds to boo-hoo, and you gotta go because they gotta do the surgery right then and there. And that's painful. That is very painful. And that's your last memory. Not in the hospital, upstairs in the room with everybody around. It's at surgery. They're literally on the surgeon table, and they begin the process of removing organs.
Yes, yes. Why is we pumping his chest? Because Dr. Herman,
they won't come in here and do it.
They're getting out in the hall because
they still got a heartbeat.
My son has a heartbeat. They told me that they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him. Yes, yes. That they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him that he had brain trauma, and I told them that they keep cutting the air off now. They cutting it off.
What the heck is going on here? What is this? What am I looking at?
They're cutting it off. They're controlling me from the outside. Why is we pumping his chest? Because Dr. Herman,
they won't come in here and do it.
They're getting out in the hall because
they still got a heartbeat.
My son has a heartbeat. They told me that they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him. Yes, yes. That they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him that he had brain trauma, and I told them that they keep cutting the air off now. They're cutting it off. They're cutting it off. They're controlling me from the outside.
They heard cut it back off because they heard me say it. We see what y'all doing out there. We see you. We see you. I promise you're going to jail. I promise.
All right. Two things. You can't cut oxygen off from a nurse's station. That's not the way it works. However, what's going on here is not, from my personal experience, the way this is done. This is on the hospital. The way now, looking at this and looking at the whole argument between them and the nurse and security being outside, they're not supposed to pull the plug, especially if they're getting organs, in the regular room. These people got to be ready to remove the organs. What is going on here? That's why it's just from the beginning again with no interruptions. Maybe I missed something.
Speak with who's ever in charge of this hospital. Now, I need to speak with who's ever in charge. You're trying to take my son off a life support and take his organs, and I asked for who's ever in charge. I asked for the director. I need to speak to the director. I need to speak to whoever's over Larry, ma'am. Okay. I'm asking you to speak to who's ever in charge of Overland Park Regional Medical Center. Okay. I am sending this to the news. I've asked you not to take my son off life support. My son would have not wanted his organs removed. All of us, all parents, are here. We said no. Who's ever in charge? We said no. We said no. Ma'am, please, can I get the director, whoever is over Overland Park Region? You just told me no, ma'am. Can you tell me no on this phone again? Tell me no again.
I am happy to find someone to visit.
No, I want to talk to who is ever in charge of this hospital.
Okay.
This hospital.
Okay.
and the attorneys that is sitting.
Sidebar. I know I said I was going to just let it play. This is a tough situation. Two things is going on. You got a nurse or a head nurse who's kind of cold to their situation. She just like, well, he said he was an organ donor, and she is right. Right? Legally, she is right. It's nothing mom and dad can do, right? But stop the process that they was going to do. Mom and dad is there like, we are both here. And we said no. But when legally it is not up to them, right? It is not up to them. And the position as a parent, you don't want to let your kid go. They not ready. They're not thinking about the whole process of removing the organs. That's what the nurse is on. We got to get him down and prep so we can remove the organs. The family is like, nah, it looked like a brother or a friend. Somebody's laying in the bed with him. They're not ready to let him go. I've been in this situation with the life support too many times. That is just too many times. And the family at that time, you know, they grieving, they happy, they sad. It's just so many different emotions, right? And you would think a nurse would be more experienced in dealing with a family that has these circumstances, right? This should have been a conversation had way before it was time to pull the plug. Because they only could keep you on life support for so long. So, back to it.
That's saying that this is okay. That you said that they said this is okay.
You have
I want, ma'am. I am
Your
asking.
son
I
signed
need
on
them
his
to come in
driver's
and
license
see. My
to be an
son did
organ
not
donor,
want that I
and we
signed when it was
appreciate
about
the
it.
gifts that
It's
he's
not.
giving.
He's not
That's
giving,
all I
ma'am.
have to say.
Yes. Can you go get whoever's in charge? Thank you.
Yes, yes. Why is we pumping his chest? Because Dr. Herman,
They won't come in here and
he
do
won't
it.
come. They're standing out in the hall.
And
Because
he still got a heartbeat.
my son has a heartbeat. They told me that they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him. Yes. That they wanted my son's organs when they first pronounced him that he had brain trauma. And I told them that
cut the air back off,
they keep cutting the air off now.
They cut the air off outside.
They're cutting it off. They're controlling it from the
Now
outside.
they heard cut it back
Now
off
they cut
because
it
they
back
heard
off
you
because
say
they heard
it. We
him
see what
say
y'all doing out there. We see you.
They're
We
doing
see you.
it.
I promise you, you're going to
They're
jail.
doing it.
I promise
They're
you,
trying
you're
to
going
kill
to
my
jail.
son because they want his
I'm gonna make sure I'm
organs.
gonna come spit on your grandma's grave. In your,
They
in your
told-
pop,
they
all
want
your
organs.
family got. I'm gonna piss on their grave. I promise you that. And that's live for me. That's Bishop talking.
They cut it off. Look, they cut it off.
Yeah, she keep. It failed.
Yeah, they doing it. They doing it. Come on, son.
So if he had brain trauma and it's only getting worse, it's nothing for the doctor to come in there and do. It's just unfortunate. And to be fair, you know, like if everybody tried to talk to the family wasn't trying to hear it. The doctor is not going to put himself in a position where it could be hostile, where he may get attacked because he can't do what they ask him. I don't blame the parents at all. I just feel like this wasn't communicated to mom and dad correctly in the beginning. If he'd been on life support for so long, probably. I don't know how long he was on life support. So that's the other factor. But obviously, he's not coming back. And if he's an organ donor, they're going to get to it. Because in their minds, it's tragic, but we could save lives. And it's a dollar value on it. It's a value. You know, that's not act like it's not a dollar value. But that dollar value could save anybody's lives. It's not like it's a bunch of rich people just rubbing their hands together. getting these organs so they could live longer and all this tinfoil hat stuff. But it's regular, ordinary people, different backgrounds, different stories, different struggles, different people that care about them. Uh, how I feel about organ donating from being on both sides of it, I think that you'll get away with a lot of speeding tickets, get a bunch of warnings when your organ donor is on your license. You get a warning. You know what happens if you get in an accident and you get to the hospital, and it's too late, and then they do what they do before anybody can get up there, and they have the legal right to do so. I would love to help somebody too. If I could help a mom, a dad, have some more years with their kids, if it's absolutely nothing else that could be done for me, right? But then on the other side of that is that fair to my family not getting to really say their goodbyes during that process of me transitioning. So I'm on the ropes. But thank you for the people who do decide that, you know what, I'm a extend life for somebody else. That's real noble.